top-dog witch and you don't trust me. I get it.
Switching.
Liu Kang.
Lao.
Well,
Now you feel sleepy. Yeah. We're in a bedroom. That's fair.
There are other spiritually active areas of the house with unidentified sightings of apparitions. In the early 1900s, the house was rented out to various tenants by Lillian, so it's possible these unidentified apparitions could be the spirits of former tenants. Some have seen a little girl in the dining room. Vaudeville music is sometimes heard in the theater room.
If there is anybody in here, perhaps you want to do a little dance for us?
And psychics that have visited the house say the courtroom is especially active.
What do you feel? I feel a little bit like I'm being watched, but I don't mind it.
A woman is sometimes seen here in the back corner of the jury box. Paranormal investigators also claim this back corner is a spiritual vortex.
Spirit. If you're here and you're angry, Ryan would like to feel a shiver up his spine. They don't respond to specific requests. I get your good points. Easy with it. Battery. Possibly good. I don't know. It feels like we can get out creeping fairness to the age of 35 years. I really don't speak by myself. Yeah, it's like, oh, fuck you, that feels scary. Here we go.
There is no reprieve coming.
Why are you so rude? I feel dizzy. You feel dizzy? Yeah, I'm not shitting you. I know every time people watch these Ghost Hunter shows, they're like, this guy's full of shit, but holy balls, dude. Wow. I don't like this. Oh, wow. What was that? Did you get a shiver up your spine? Yeah. Holy shit. Oh, man, that was crazy. What the fuck is going on, dude? Can you still move all your limbs? Oh, I can still move all my limbs. I just feel very uncomfortable. My goodness. I know you don't believe me. I can see the look of your face right now.
is that him sitting there now?
I don't feel particularly strange. It's not a great chair.
A police officer also had a paranormal experience more than 30 years ago. There was a 911 call from a concerned citizen reporting a woman crying outside the Whaley house. And the officer who responded to that call would witness something that he would only reveal in his confidential retirement letter decades later. When the officer came onto the property, he saw, quote, a woman at the back of the house crying, end quote, and mentioned she was in period clothing. The officer asked, quote, ma'am, are you all right? End quote, to which she turned around and smiled. And when the officer shone his flashlight on her, the woman vanished. Bizarrely, the house also sports the rare instance of a ghost dog and a ghost cat, both of which the Whaleys owned at the time.
Then are there also ghost ants? Is there ghost trees? No, there's no ghost trees. I'm sorry. You're not telling me someone's never walked through the forest and seen a tree and you're like, huh? Wait, that tree was there. I swear there was a tree there a second ago. You know what? I've changed my stance on ghost trees. That's actually pretty cool. Ghost bacteria, etc. Stop it. Okay.
Two other ghosts that haunt the house are Thomas and Anna Whaley themselves. Many reports seeing Thomas Whaley on the upper landing, where one person claimed he wore a frock coat and pantaloons. Some have reported that he blows tobacco smoke in visitors' faces.
Now that's the truth. No, that's kind of upsetting thing to do. Can you imagine seeing a ghost? Oh my goodness, look at this strange apparition. And he just comes up to you and he's like, you're like, oh, Jesus, man.
Anna Whaley is typically seen in the garden or in one of the downstairs rooms. Anna has also been spotted wearing a green gingham dress, sipping tea in the parlor, a place where Thomas has been seen as well. Interestingly, Anna also reportedly had a run-in with the San Diego police. One night, a Whaley House tour guide named Victor Santana was setting the alarm, and as he was punching in the code, he heard
Why
a woman
did you
say,
not heed
quote,
Raiden's
"Why are you
warning?
here?"
I thought I could
End
train
quote.
Shujinko
Which
alone.
spooked him to the point that he ran out the front door with a gun, setting off the alarm. Shortly after, a San Diego police officer responded to the Whaley House. Santana recollects the officer, quote, "Came there to look at the woman's dress in the party." But by the time backup arrived, the woman in green had disappeared.
This is a weird ghost.
You know what? I'm so glad I said earlier, I think 14 is kind of helpful for business.
Yeah, that's actually pretty bad.
Ryan Vidal, ghost cop, doesn't sound nice. However, your ghost of all is the ghost of Yankee Jim.
You better watch out. Jim will give you some tapping. Some folks say they hear him playing a jolly little kazoo together. He's not, that's how the ghost was speaking.
Targeting to this topic is even my third and only house. Or attempting to steal a boat. He was sitting on the gallery.
Winning is everything.
On the land where the Whaley House stands today.
It's the way when Yankee Jim. They straight out, straight up murder him for, stealing a boat. And you need to detect this steal the boat, and then they steal the boat. This is the way that's up here. You know, I would too. Yankee Jim for bullshit. You know what? I hope you're running a speedboat. Yeah. Oh, you know this guy race speedboat up in heaven. You were there time, Yankee Jim. Rest in peace.
Interestingly enough, Thomas Whaley and still purchased the land a few years later. A decision that would literally him for decades to come. Thomas and his family were reportedly in 24 states in the past. An occurrence that Thomas himself will attribute to the boat, Yankee Jim. And Whaley is also believed to have furthermore believed the property itself was cursed, and perhaps accounted for the value of continually developing. Let's finish this off. Let's spend some time in the parlor, which is believed to be one of the most active areas in the house. This archway was the spot where old Yankee Jim next to the place. And Stuart Valley was taken when she was shot. This is what was seen by the policeman. I'm gonna this is one at a time. So it's more private. This is private. This one 5 minutes ago. Let's do the part of it. Let's go. Alright, 5 minutes. You're an idiot. Yeah, you can see what they do with boats. I myself really doing the play. Just embrace the distance. Here we go. Please
I am
feel
holding
free
back.
to make it safe or change the temperature. Give me goosebumps. Whatever you feel. Maybe you're going to
For the Shaolin!
My turn. If it's any consolation, if anybody interested, okay, who's still in me? Just know, when you show yourself in front of me, I'm going to urinate all over this carpet. I do not want to see anybody. I'm not talking. Oh God, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm not talking to anybody. Like, I'm losing it.
Kung Lao
I can't. Okay, is one of you messing with me?
Fight.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, something whispered in my ear. I can't.
been here for 5 years. We have to it's already I am so prominent up there. I'm in Toronto. Are you? After being dedicated to the historic house on May 25th, 1960, the Whaley House has received over 100,000 visitors and a countless number of young people report paranormal experiences. There have been so many instances of reported paranormal activity in the house, and so many believe that it is haunted, especially when considering the history. And nonetheless, whether or not the house is definitively haunted or remain that's
Winning is everything.
Round two.
well, all the good so
She's having tea in the probably not downstairs. I would take that. It sounds like the fight that they're doing here with each other. Yeah, it's just when I actually pop the items off, it's like it makes me very excited. At home, imagining it, but now that I'm standing here looking at it, you gotta be brave. Yeah, you remember how to do that?
Kung Lao wins.
The Blitzka X murder house. Look, it's kited up to remind us when the horrible event happened. Yeah, got a picture. Send a postcard to your parents.
Fight.
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we investigate the Blitzka X murder. Ongoing a location voted one of the most terrifying places in America. This unassuming family home in Blitzka, Iowa, was a setting for one of the most grisly incidents unsolved murders in American history. Absolutely nothing about this. I'm terrified. Because I don't believe in ghosts, but I do believe that Iowa is awful. Just as a whole, just as soon as you cross the state lines, you can have a hitchhiking ghost. Yeah.
No.
So they can all go.
Fighting me is a privilege.
We got you. There's no reason to bring up the ice skate turf war. Only small in this turf war. 1868, this three-bedroom house was purchased by local businessman Josiah B. Moore in Vancouver, New York. Josiah, his wife, Sarah, and their 4 children, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul, lived in the small frame home located on 2nd Street and were the very picture of a perfect family. The Moore family made their way back home after attending a special service for children at the local church. The Moore family was joined by Lena and Anna Stanley, who were friends of their eldest daughter and were sleeping over. Early the next morning, Mary Cooper, her daughter's neighborhood, was up at 5 a.m. hanging out. By 7 a.m., she noticed that no one in the home was awake and doing their routine. Mary recalled that
Fuck!
something
I had that game.
the Moore's unintended houses
Kung
began
Lao
moving.
wins.
So Mary walked over to the Moore home and knocked on their door. There was no answer. She attempted to open the door, but found it to be locked.
Fight.
Growing increasingly distressed, Mary called Josiah's brother Ross, and at 8:30 a.m. in the morning, Ross Moore then stepped inside his brother's family home to find the unthinkable. This might be the door that the killer, or at least some suspect that. And here we are. Well, this is the kitchen, and as you can see, everything is pretty much set as it would have been in 1912. All the furniture is almost the same. This, for the most part, is what it looked like that night.
Oh my god.
Just as a quick example, because it seems to really, if I just give a little.
Fight.
Which makes it kind of hard for me to believe that this guy could have snuck around. But he did. I mean, I don't love it. I don't love any of the places that we go through. But I will
Oh my
say this
God.
in particular, because it's so small and such horrible things happen in such a small area, the concentrated dread here is in most places. It's open to keep going to the downstairs bedroom. You're trying to be lifeless and bloody defiance of Venus and Stillinger. The picture paper depicts a gruesome picture of what Ross Moore beheld that evening. Their heads cut open with an axe. The spectacle so repulsive, there is almost beyond comprehension that 6 more victims murdered in a dedicated scene, laid in the 2 bedrooms upstairs. End quote. In just one night, 8 people had been systematically murdered with an axe, and not one person heard or saw a thing. Upon investigation, all 8 victims appear to have been killed in their sleep, with one exception. The only sign of struggle apparent was with Lena Stillinger. Her arm was arranged in a way that appeared she had tried to stop the attacker. She also had a small cut on that same arm to suggest
Doing
that
my
she
own
may have
stunts has
been
been
hit
hell
by
on my
an axe.
back.
Strangely,
You already are making
investigators
excuses?
also discovered a 2-pound sack of raw bacon, carefully wrapped in a dish towel in the same room in which the stain bacon is kind of puts over the edge. I just don't understand why it is some ghost and weird personal right that have to do with like also this feels to one horse head or missed breakfast. This is the room that the Stillinger girls were killed in, and this is actually the first piece of paper that was found by Mr. Moore's brother. We're sure about to put stuff with it spooky things. That is true. They definitely cornered the market on creepy dolls. Well, it said that people feel very impressed with feelings in here.
Where's my
It said
mark?
that have split groups of they'll
Round
start
2.
arguing with each other.
Fight.
I do. Everyone, if you go look at it, at the bottom of the square, they also have the discount page. I'm going to turn on a device here that helps speak with us. You can use the energy from this device to communicate. It's everyone's favorite tool. Stay with here. Okay, my name is Brian. Can you say our name is back to us? If there's something here different, can you say Ryan or me? Bring it. Why did you do it?
Wins.
Hey. What did you say?
Round 1.
I'm
Fight.
going to ask you again. Prove to me that it was you who did this, because I don't believe you. Hey, you're such a little weirdo. Huh? Reaching out to me. I'm really sorry. What happened to you happened to you. Can you tell me your name if you're here? Louis, are you scared? Where? You want to text me?
So up and away.
I don't respect you. That should rile you up.
Got
I
my
think you
eyes
suck.
on you.
Brian loves you. You're saying your work. That's not true. Yeah, he's a sicko just like you. Sure. I think you're Almost 100 years later, in June 2020, one visitor visited the newly renovated home now owned by Owen and attempted to make contact with the Stillinger boys in the very room in which their lives were shockingly consumed. The visitor called out to the girl, telling them to turn his flashlight on. They obliged every time, causing him to proclaim, quote, that the evil spirits of all 8 victims still dwell within that house, end quote. The mag light is hooey. What? There's
Johnny
I think he blacked out. There's no correlation. Even if the flashlight was turning on and off, you hear
Draco.
there's nothing to back it up. There's no science behind it. You could say nothing at all. They will turn on and off. Here's the best I can
The tea house.
use. We're sleeping in a tent.
What made you
We
such
hear
a war
footfalls
horse?
outside.
The general's
We wake up in the
guidance
morning
and
see
discipline.
footprints outside, and I say, there were horses here last night. And you say, yes, it was a unicorn. And I say, what? That's what's happening here.
Really think there's something here. I'm going to need to see some intelligent responses on the actual flashlight, how you turn on. I'm supposed to get one flashlight.
We're looking for more info.
If there's something in here right now, please turn off the black one while I'm on through.
We want to see that.
Exactly.
Good. You got to turn the black one off.
You are weak.
Round
Pathetic.
two.
That's what we were at.
Fight.
Let's turn off that black light. Come on. Turn off that sticky light. Boy, you're not going to follow instructions.
You're going to switch from the black to the blue right now. Look, we've heard lots of reports that whatever's in here loves playing with these flashlights. And all I'm seeing right now is random activity. Okay, now we're at even.
Okay, case fire.
Here's the blue one on the left. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blue one on now. 3.
You do it enough times, it'll be perfect.
Yeah, that's what I think that's the real thing.
You know, see, how's that good vibe?
Maybe humans.
I feel pretty good vibes. They're probably very happy that not some dour ghost hunter coming in here being like, oh, it's intimidating. I'm coming in. Except for the murderer. We do not want to party with you.
It may seem unnatural now, but due to the heinous nature of these crimes and the fact that the town of Ballista may have thousand residents, the fight scene became a full-blown spectacle with upwards of 150 total with the bodies of the 8 victims still intact. After arriving to examine the scene, the town marshal went so far as to let the townspeople handle the acts, utterly contaminating the murder weapon left behind by the killer themselves.
I think we're good.
Wow, Steph, see if you can do the same.
You've no feel for battle.
About 3.5 hours after the bodies were found, the Ballista National Guard arrived. When they were finally able to secure the scene, authorities could then begin investigation into who had committed these 8 gruesome crimes. On a quiet Sunday night at County Iowa Jordan, quote, one of the finest cities in the state. The motive for the murder was unclear, as there was no evidence of a robbery.
That
or
wasn't
any
on the
other
call
reason
sheet.
Why the Moore family would have been targeted.
Fight.
Investigators during this chance is considered the death list still containing cash, the check, and keys. It also found a huge gash on the wall of the parents' upstairs bedroom right above the mirror. With bullet by the murderer. It is believed this mark was made quote, by the upswing of the axe and further evidence bears this out, as Josiah was the only victim killed with the impact of the axe. All 7 others died by being bludgeoned with the blunt back head of the axe.
Josiah and Sarah Moore will hear that there still isn't the axe from the upswing. Could only imagine the force of this evil.
There is a thread to this room. Also,
Once again, peaceful demeanor. Just straight up spook. There's something about this guy. There's like, I don't know if it's a vanity thing or he was ashamed of what he was doing, but he couldn't control himself. And it was in the girl's bedroom.
Fight.
It's been everywhere. So I don't know what to do. Right now, I'm reaching out to the spirit of Josiah and Sarah. First off, thank you for having me. I'm really genuinely sorry for what happened. If there's anything you'd like to let us know about that, please reach out to us.
Almost.
Sorry. You say that again? While the voice referred to this moment was not captured, an audio recording in this room later picked up the voice for this. Is this the voice of the voice of this murderer? Where's it coming from? Why did you do what you did? All of the victims' faces had been covered with oil or bedding after being killed, and at some point, the murderer is also believed to have closed all the window curtains. So obviously, before he could be like, he was like sleeping. Well, he wasn't sleeping in the first place. Was it raining that night or anything? How wild is it? It's to kill one person and not wake up another person. They killed 7 people and now you wake up the 8th one. Investigators also found food on the kitchen table where the murderer fixed himself several times before exiting out the front door, locking it. Years later, the home's caretaker originated from the kitchen that would stop him in his tracks. Also, he has stated that he was barely able to skip it prior to walking from the house, said, quote, the kids were never off the floors and nobody rooms in the house. And Hauser goes on to say he's so positive it's so impressive that he decides to go
No! Oh, fuck.
upstairs bedroom and waits until closed.
Nah.
Goes upstairs into the room and kick the door and scream. At all. As soon as I see there's nothing, it just sucked the air like I got the word out. End quote. Obviously, more children slept, and where they were sleeping, and it is unnerving to be sitting on this bed. I think it's a closet looks like a hiding area.
Fuck!
Nope, not doing it.
God dang it.
Finish him.
Oh, is it awful? There's no people. Bye-bye.
Reiko wins.
We're gonna turn my light out. Me too. Oh, fuck me. You can make your presence be known. I can hear everything right now. To the more children, I'm really sorry what happened to you happened to you. Do you have anything you'd like to say? Just here to help. Whoever's with me right now, can you tell me your name? Oh, shit. Me? Is that you? No, I'm in the closet. Whee! That food. Oh, shit. Is that you? No, I'm just shit. That's what I come out of doing. This is fucking great. What occurred? Chill out. Not like this. Oh, that's a ghost thing. I thought somehow you kind of like bumped the wall to the houses. No, I was standing directly behind the door. If that was you that moved the bed, please move it again, because I would like my big tall friend here to experience it. Can you move that curtain up in here? That little towel, that little blanket?
here with us in this room right now. I'll kill him? Stop it. Do you want us to stop? It sounded like stop it. Somebody stop me! I don't think it's been carrying. Stop you from what? Is there anything you want to say to us?
Reiko wins.
Huh? What are your parents' names?
Reiko.
I didn't really quite catch that. Can you say that again? Whose parents? What's your parents' names? Anything to tell us about the person who killed you? Did you see them?
Smoke. Tremor.
Something one? What did you see?
Sector. The tea house.
Okay,
It's
you turn it off?
disgusting how much you relish combat. What else do you expect from a warrior?
You got it.
Round
We love the
one.
spirit box world that it gives us. What a wonderful gift. It's a stupid piece of shit.
Plus, investigation suggests the presence of a family in the house. Multiple others suggest that the house is haunted by the killer themselves. Investigators from the show Kindred Spirits picked up an EVP response to the question, "Did you do something to this family?" The response, "I killed her." Medium picked up the presence of the killer in the house describing him as hurt. He knew about what he was going to do. And that his favorite type of person was the type that was weak and easily manipulated, like quote, so if the killer doesn't slowly drive to his house, but now the killer tried to get in, what investigators hypothesized was that the murderer had gained access to the lower by removing the screen of the first floor window. Evidence at the scene with this method of decreasing the of a far more terrifying killer. The murderer was mostly lying in wait and holding just hours.
Oh, the big guy. Yeah. This may be the first room we've encountered that neither Ryan nor Shane saw. I'm just awful little. Very nice. Oh, that's nice. It was like a little tin here. Guess maybe they would have like stuff in here. You can't really have it in the house before you go to sleep? Yeah. You strike me as that kind of a conscious kind of guy. I feel like you just want to sleep with the window and doors.
You do what you do to make your girlfriend feel safe. That's the idea. Well, there is
No real kind of
Round one.
mistaken who would be in here. It's just you. You know who you are.
Mr. Bad News.
Who's in here with us right now? What was that? Why did you do what you did? I hear you enjoy him. Is that true? Why are you still here? What year is it? 18, what does that mean? I'm gonna turn this off in 10 seconds. 10, 9, last chance to say anything. 8,
Round two.
7,
Fight.
6, 5, 4, 3.
Perhaps no evidence physically revealed presence remaining in the house was more clear than what happened in 2013. On November 2nd, caretaker Brian Hauser viewed that evening's overhead guests. A man in his 50s along with his elderly parents. Hauser noted that the man was carrying a large hunting gun on his belt. Hauser checked them in, and then left for the night. The next morning, Hauser heard that the man was apparently in the house alone. He had stabbed into the downstairs bedroom the night before. The knife had been jabbed into his chest, and the road being filled with own blood so he was found. The man's injuries are labeled self-inflicted. Miraculously, the man survived the attack and even returned to the home years later. When it came to explain what actually happened that night, all the man could remember was going into the bedroom with the goal of provoking the spirits.
Ah!
Final
He was waking up in an emergency. The caretaker noted that the first thing the man did was apologize to the house for his behavior. Hauser states that he didn't believe a ghost had stabbed the man, but he does think that perhaps the house has a dangerous effect on people in their mental state inside. Also, the house has new walls originally owned by Josiah himself was found in this very room in which the stabbing occurred. And like that's being said, you will never end or identify the individual. This plan was starting in the downstairs bedroom, just like the man who supposedly attacked in 2014.
You can hear my stomach. It's actually like rumbling. You're gonna freak out in there.
I'm gonna shit my pants.
You know what? It's extra scary because the environment that you'll be in, darkness, fire, exactly the conditions when you murder. Man, let's keep it around that stress like the house taking it really hard. And we get out of it. The list X. I understand. I feel like have a great time to fuck with you.
He used to turn me out that he would go in and have a brand but just frankly, he just seems to have no fear, which I used to see as courageous, but now I just think he's an insane person.
If you're the killer, why don't you turn that left flashlight off, right? If you're the killer, turn that left flashlight off. I very much appreciate it. Just a little bit. A little bit right there. Oh, there. Okay. What's he doing here? Odd choice to stick around this house. As I said, you kind of successfully did the murders here. I mean,
You are weak.
also kills a haunted place?
Round 2.
Do you not die somewhere else? There's just like turn to this into the crime. I don't know. Oh, gosh, I went out again. Yes. So yes. You can return to it. You know, I can acknowledge intellectually that I'm not going to die. But for whatever reason, it's still very horrible. That I'm using.
I will
What's
try
up? My
it.
name is Shane. I'm looking for the killer. Let's go. It's the thing that probably sucks the most about this one is that spirit in there, back in there, tends to really gravitate towards antagonistic forces. All the people who are scared. And what Shane's doing in there is pissing it off. And then the guy's gonna be there, punching air because he can't get to the big guy. And I'm gonna walk in there and be scared with him being pissed off already. And then he's gonna stick a metaphorical ghost door or something like that. I don't know what ghosts will do.
He'll
It's
go
gonna
up
stop.
in smoke.
No, that's just not I'm gonna lay down on the floor next to it and close my eyes. And then if the killer is here or if the spirit of the killer is here, that would be a great time. Use your ghost powers to strengthen it. Then when I open my eyes, you can be levitating like an inch above my face. Very vulnerable. I'm so vulnerable right now. Oh my god. You can really take a weapon and then so many people here.
Get beat.
Training for at least a day and feel like whether you're gonna be like, oh my god, this guy get fucking split in two. Pretty cool. Really fun.
Draco
Yeah.
wins.
Yeah.
You having fun time in there?
I took a little nap up on the top floor. Word of warning.
Yeah, this is going to be some really helpful information, Go.
It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, no shit, dude.
It doesn't feel right.
Your eyes actually look really scary right now.
Yeah. Because I've been in there. Now get on in there.
How the fuck did I get myself into this? Well, it is me. I'm alone. I'm not my fear. I'm stronger than my fear.
I'm surprised we don't hear any screams right now. He may be dead. It's possible his heart just stopped. And he's lying on the floor in there.
Okay. I'm in the Ina Stillinger room with Elena Stillinger. This is where the two girls that were sleeping over got killed. Ha 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 ha. I didn't mean to laugh at that. I am just incredibly nervous right now. We're just going to go with one flashlight here, folks. The blue light. If there's somebody in here with me right now, turn that bad boy off now. This is horrifying, though. But I'm stronger than that because it's just in my head. It's all in my head. And the light turned off. Okay. Well, if there's somebody in here with me right now, turn the light back on. In 3, 2, 1, on.
A great deal of my time was spent napping. I thought, well, what's the scariest thing I can do, even as someone who doesn't believe in ghosts? And I think, going into this allegedly haunted house, laying on the ground next to a bed where a person was murdered in their sleep, and closing your eyes is a good challenge.
Going upstairs. Parents' bedroom. Is there anybody in here with me? I know my big tall friend came in here and probably roughed you up a little bit. Told you that I was the guy that you could come in and push around. That's not true.
I've never seen such a successful ghost hunter show with no ghosts.
And that's what you are, a ghost. Because you're just a man. And men die. We're at the halfway point here. The party is almost over, so to speak. We're not going to have much time left. So that being said, it's time to go into the lion's den. I mean, quite literally, I have to crouch down to get into this son of a bitch. All right, buddy boy. You wanted me? Here I am.
Look at this smoke in her room.
My name is Ryan. What's your name? Can you say my name back to me?
Look at evidence of a ghost.
Did you do what you did here? You want me to leave? Just leave? Why do you want me to leave? Do you not like being talked to this way? You got 10 seconds to start speaking or I'm turning it off. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What a relief. That was a spiritual experience inside there.
Was it good in there? How you doing? How'd it go?
I feel kind of invigorated, honestly.
Well, goodbye for this guy.
It's been real. But I'm real glad I'm leaving. Let's go. One last look. Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
Dude.
After 5 years, a widespread effort failed to find any credible suspects. Hauser added, quote, "You got a murder in a small town with 5 years of gossip. Everyone in town at some point was a suspect," end quote. Legal proceedings involving 3 different men were pursued, but no one was ever convicted of the horrifying crimes that befell the Moore family and the Stillinger girls. The Villisca Axe murders remain one of the most infamous cold cases in American history. We will never know what took place in the Moore family home on that night in June 1912, which resulted in the loss of 8 innocent lives. or if the tragic victims of that gruesome emerald crime still roam the residence they once called home over 100 years later. Whether the Velisca Axe murder house is haunted by those who lost their lives in the crime, or if the property itself was themed by pure evil, unspeakable acts perpetrated by an unknown spirit will remain.
Hello and welcome to another edition of BuzzFeed Unsolved Postmortem, a show where we answer your most pressing questions about the most recent episode of BuzzFeed Unsolved, which was the Velisca Axe Murder House. All the questions we're answering today came from you guys via our BuzzFeed Unsolved Instagram page, BuzzFeed Unsolved Facebook page, as well as directly on the Big One Fun. Good to be back. Thank you for holding the fort. That's true. I didn't hold it all the way down. Held it by myself. Shane was out there.
Gay? Bro said I held it down. Dick in his throat. He held it down.
Velisca Axe Murder.
That's what that means. You don't know the lingo.
That I think you can agree.
Yeah, you hold it down.
For a long time.
Huh?
It's been on my list for a while, and finally I was able
You want to hold down the fort?
mark it off. I think we could both agree this house.
Can I get a kiss?
Yeah, I mean,
Ghost society is not a pleasant place to be.
well, we go to a lot
I
of
love you.
places that are haunted. You know, like I was very aware of this place well before we ever started. It's a place you
Oh.
hear about. It's a place
What?
that has a weight to it in terms of the.
But stop ducking the channels.
That's true. That's a big one.
Also, it's just so concentrated.
Yeah. Oh, I'm joining. I was mainly talking about Gonzo and Nameless and Victor. All three of them motherfuckers on playing, but ducking the channels.
Was original too, which also added to the dread of that.
I didn't throw your name in there.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Shane, when the voice in this specific episode said,
You and Victor on Wi-Fi.
what would you write it off as? It sounds a little too clear.
Is Takeda good or what? He sucks.
I'd say that's a class A EVP.
Oh, that's great.
So he's like Hat Trick Kung Lao. He's so flashy, it's okay to play him, but he sucks.
Well, I mean, EVPs don't really mean anything to me because it's super.
Because his combos look freaking flashy as hell.
Just audio, it's audio, it's noise.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I mean, it looks like you're relying on overhead mix and lows, but your low is really not as good as your. He doesn't have a what? He does. His chains aren't overheads. Oh boy, that sucks. I thought they were overheads.
Well, I think there's unicorns. Me saying, all right, cool, nice.
Well, I think it's a pretty fair thing.
They didn't make back 2-1 a overhead. That's ridiculous.
Okay, then what is it?
I told you.
They're doing that not a low. It's a mid.
All you Shaniacs out there, I hope you're happy with that explanation. You really nailed it there.
Oh, that's dumb. They should have given him a mix.
People in the comments are like,
But don't be too harsh on my Liu Kang.
Kung Lao.
Well, you're a shaniac,
Planet K.
and you do think it's
Targeted
compelling.
colony.
I was so
Everyday
satisfied.
people need to know about the realms.
Yeah.
I will explain that.
At the appropriate
You gonna what?
Give me observable evidence. You have to
Oh, okay.
this stuff in a way that ties to science. It's the specificity.
I'm not saying that there's a scientific aspect of
I
it.
forgot that the science is it's the specificity.
Well, I speak for him.
I forgot.
You can sit there and sneer and be like,
It's not my prerogative. It's not like this. Of course, the first out.
I've never seen Janet Cage. That's tight.
I don't think it's I don't know. I'm not.
I'm trying to get a rise out of it.
No, I don't think you are.
What's the specific thing that it is if it's not?
It's
Wouldn't
my
want to be
sex
you
together.
right now.
Rubbing it together.
That's what
Next question, Ryan. Let's go to Melanie. The lead?
Do you think the man's dad studies the people who think a ghost could be? Like he wanted to think a ghost detective that have some crazy ghost feelings? He survived the wound, so maybe he knew where to stab himself to survive the attack. Hashtag post-mortem.
Anyone would want to, even you, you would love nothing more than to get definitive proof.
Well, he must feel like I've already got him.
If he was trying to prove a point, surely he would have knocked down his neighbor's door. He was, no, don't stab me! Or change me! From Jocelyn Rodriguez on Facebook. Article worth 1. Great episode. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, that's a good range though.
Here it is, great.
3. You guys got some of the most evidence in any episode.
Also, thank you. Which is not having objectives.
4. Do you think the killer was actually hiding in the attic? Even if he was, how would the ghost be present / his body was never found? Maybe some vigilante activity occurred and someone found / killed / buried the killer on the spot.
I don't know. I mean, we all think about perspective of like, why does a person haunt a place? There's like so many different things of thought that I've kind of given up on it. I guess you could say that like a place that someone felt very fond of or not fond of or had some sort of connection to in some sort of way, it makes sense that they would be there. But I don't know.
It'd be sick as hell if there was like a ghost highway that you could haunt. Like, different places you've been, like in Coco, or like, if like when you die, you come into Dr. Manhattan and you can just exist in multiple states all over the place. So I could be like, yeah, I want to haunt my school growing up, but I also want to haunt a corner base station I really like in Bergen.
I think we're really going to find out the answer of whether or not ghosts are real when the hosts of these shows, ourselves included, start dying. Because here's the thing: if I fucking beep it and I die, you better bet your ass that I'm gonna fucking do everything I can to prove that ghosts are real. I'm dead.
In my mind, I had always imagined the attic was above the top floor, but it is
It's like in the top floor. It's
parallel to the top
more like a giant closet.
on the second floor. It's essentially a giant closet with the door was smaller, right? It's more like a crawl space door. Yeah, so it's very. It was, I remember when we were there, I was really trying to crunch the numbers on if the killer because I always thought maybe the killer was hiding in the attic, but
Let's end
that
this.
was me supposing that the attic was above everything. With the attic being like right there in the main hallway, like how could they not have seen someone? Like, I guess when it was full of stuff,
Right?
they could be like maybe out
Not as an empty ass. You know, it's amazing to me that a person was able to sneak around the house without anybody waking up. Like, maybe the first person, sure, falls out of the attic, very cat-like, and then does indeed. But you would think that there would be some sort of skirmish, or not a skirmish, maybe even just the noise itself, because there was not a lot of structural integrity to the right.
It's not like every footstep he was making was like reverberating.
No, for sure. And just feel like it's crazy that somebody could sneak around. I don't understand. That's like the craziest part about this story to me. Like, I know this is the supernatural post-mortem, but this has just always confounded me from a true crime perspective. I don't understand how this guy got away with it. And also, in terms of the evidence, we had some really good spear fox sessions in this one, too.
I didn't like arguing about the noise. I think for the rest of the season, I'm just gonna roll over and have fun with it. Honestly.
There's got to be a friendly polarity here. No matter what, no matter what, and I'll say this to the audience, no matter what happens between him and I on camera, I respect this man. Hermanos fantastic, and I would trust him holding a newborn child. Really? I don't have a newborn child, but if I did, I'd toss it on the shame. I've done it. I remember Rip City. That's what the people wanted. Remember how I got the Ripper to the
Slap the cuss out.
in over 100 years? Who better to solve this than the boys?
I mean, if we don't, we never go back to it.
Well,
Here's Janet.
and you've seen the Ripper? This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, in our season premiere, we investigate Jack the Ripper, perhaps the most infamous serial killer of all time. Hundreds of suspects have been named for this
I'm
case,
enjoying
and it's
this.
baffled investigators and ripperologists alike for over 100 years.
It's not going to baffle the boys.
Yeah, and we're ripperologists.
We're unbafflable.
That's not a word.
I think it's a word.
I've done so much research on this one. I'm very, very pleased with the case that I present. What that's done.
You think this is your white whale?
I didn't solve it, but I figured it out.
Oh, you just you got me all
Here is 1888, the stage, the shadowy and fog-filled streets of the East End. More specifically the Whitechapel district, an area with over 34 violence and crime against the backdrop of poverty. But suddenly, a string of murders terrorized the public in a way never seen before. The culprit, a madman, was clear the world's most notorious serial killer, Jack the Ripper. While most believe the Ripper claimed the lives of only 5, now referred to as the canonical 5. Others believe the Ripper
I
claimed
can't
the
be
lives
beat.
of up to 11 women. All 5 of the canonical victims were prostitutes, as many women in the Whitechapel district had to turn to prostitution as a way to survive. The morbid intrigue.
But Luke ain't got on elf shoes.
At the time of the murders, literacy was increasing among the general population. The murders were covered in the newspaper, and the public became morbidly fascinated by it. In the end, the public was so upset at the failed attempts by the killer that the police commissioner and home secretary eventually resigned.
Was this like one of the first instances of like sort of a media frenzy or something like this? It
Yeah.
sounds like Oprah or John Boehner.
What if they had 2 time shows back then?
I don't think they did them.
I could see them having a little talk about it. Like, you know, like in Game of Thrones.
Okay, I can see that. Little puppets, yeah, little puppets. I'm good with that.
Also, touching on the police commissioner, I think this is the first time I've actually seen a police commissioner resign because he was so upset. And that makes sense to me because I've said this before, when there's a serial killer on the loose, you really are just playing cat and mouse with the killer. And you're just getting outboxed by him at every corner your whole livelihood. That could drive you insane. I feel like that would drive me insane. Today, we're going to cover the 5 canonical victims. By the end, we'll have examined the most suspects we've ever presented with 8 possible killers. Without further ado, let's jump to the time. On August 31st, 1888, at 3:40 a.m., the body of Mary Ann Nichols was found in Bucks Row, Whitechapel. The body was discovered by a man named Charles Cross, who claims he was walking on Bucks Row in Nosey, London, toward the western end. Another man named Robert Paul approached the body of Cross. Police would eventually arrive at the scene. Mary Ann Nichols was found on her back, her throat severely slashed, and she was missing the color. It was determined she'd been dead for about an hour, meaning the killer was likely nearby
It's not
when
over
Cross
yet.
first saw the body.
Now, how did they, at this point in time, I don't know what the forensics are like, how do they know what a half hour will this sort of, time is over? Let's see, that's half hour blood right there.
Yeah, that's 30 minutes. We had a blood count. I'm an hour. That's not.
Yeah. I know nothing about the blood times do the track thing, but like, I feed them blood and they don't, you don't feed bloodhound bang the blood. You feed a bloodhound some blood and it's ours for every minute and it's always A positive. Universal donor.
Right now, at the site of the first murder, this Mary Ann Nichols, they found her at the western end of Bucks Row, which is now Sherwood Street. You can kind of see where it was, like, see that building right there with the white windows? Yeah. You can't go over there because it's construction now. But just below that, and a little bit towards us, we found
Janet!
the gateway of that house that on the street before. Kind of similar to these gateways here. And it's kind of weird to think that they didn't know that
Son of a bitch.
the most infamous serial killer of all time.
One crazy summer.
On September 8, 1888, the body of Annie Chapman was found at 29 Hanbury Street. Her body was discovered by a man named John Davis, an elderly resident of the 29 Hanbury Street building. Her throat was cut, and this time the violence escalated in that the murderer took her womb.
So this is the approximate location of the second killing.
Annie Chapman was killed at 29 Hanbury Street, but my sources have told me that street actually moved. 29 Hanbury Street is actually over there, but where it approximately happened back in the day was around the entrance to the brewery and stuff right there. But imagine that. Dr. George Baxter Phillips was serving as the divisional police surgeon at the time, and proposed the idea that the killer had anatomical knowledge by the manner in
It's
which
not
Annie
over
Chapman's
yet.
wound was removed. That's the first clue. To the doctor.
probably more as basic anatomy. Later that month, on September 27, 1888, the Central News Agency receives a letter via the killer. It reads, quote, "Dear boss, keep on hearing the police at night, but they don't fix me just yet. I have laughed and looked so clever and talk about being on the right track. That joke about leather apron gave me real fits. I'm down on Horace and shan't quit ripping them till I do get lucky. Grand work the last job was. I gave the lady no time to squeal. How can they catch me now? I love my work and want to start again. You will soon hear of me with my money for the games. I saved some of the proper red stuff in a ginger beer bottle from the last job to write with, but it went thick like glue and I can't use it. Ready to spit it up, I hope. Ha ha. The next job I do, I shall clip the lady's ears off and send to the police officers just for Dolly, wouldn't you? Keep this letter back till I do a bit more work, then give it out straight. My knife's so nice and sharp, I want to get to work right away if I get a chance. Good luck. Yours truly, Jack the Ripper. Don't mind giving me the trade name. What's the good of it to post this before I got all the writing off my hands? Curse it, no luck yet. They say I'm a doctor now. Ha ha. What a piece of work. Yeah, I gotta give it to him though. Jack the Ripper is a very catchy name. This guy had a knack for naming things.
What's his brand? If this was happening today, or if social media existed during this time,
Most will be a minor.
to be a minor, he'd have extensive hashtags on every post.
Insta good,
Insta food, hashtag rich.
This letter wasn't released to the public until October 1st, and many believe that it was fabricated by a journalist. But regardless, it made its way to the papers. Once in the eyes of the public, the name stuck. The killer from that point on went by the now famous moniker, Jack the Ripper. 3 days later, September 30th after the the body of Elizabeth Scribe was found on Bernard Street by a man named Louis Leibschutz. Only her throat was cut, which led police to believe that the murder was interrupted when Leibschutz approached.
Right now we're walking up to the site of the second murder, Elizabeth Scribe. She was found by a man right around here. This is now, I think, a schoolyard. A lot of people actually question whether or not
It's
this is
not
the Ripper
over
because her throat was cut rather hastily. None of the other little tricks that people disembowel and that stuff. It's almost as if like people would walk up on it as they're running. Yeah. Just poof, I can't do my little, can't do the whole kicks in the air.
It was determined that she was dead for 30 minutes when examined around 1:15 a.m. Shockingly, only 45 minutes after the discovery of Elizabeth Scribe, another body was found in Hanover Square, less wet than the Scribe murder. A woman named Catherine Eddowes was the second victim in the same night. The body was severely mutilated, including her face. Her uterus was removed as well as her left kidney.
So only 45 minutes after the murder of Elizabeth Scribe, investigators stumbled upon the body of Catherine Eddowes here.
Right here.
In this general area, there used to be a flower bed here, kind of, in a way, served as a memorial for her.
No
But
compromises.
this was just, like I said, 45 minutes after a murder had just happened, about 10 to 15 minutes later, walking with this. It was weird, because after he killed Catherine Eddowes here, he went back towards the direction of the first. How does that? Either that or he gets to do this right. I think it's the body is back there. Right now we're walking somewhat near the path that he would have taken away, walking east away from the body. And then we're about to arrive at the time with the doctor. So we have to investigate.
It's here that police would discover one of the few solid clues in the entire case. A piece of Catherine Eddowes' apron found near the scene of the crime. The apron was found by Alfred Long in the doorway of an apartment block near Worsted Street. A nearby street east of the Eddowes murder site. Near this apron, Vincent written in chalk that read, quote, "The Jews are the men that will not be blamed for nothing." A sign of the anti-Semitism that was common in the area. However, the crucial detail of this is the fact that it was found east of the
Merry Christmas.
murder site, in the direction of Elizabeth Scribe's murder site.
I'm playing against my teammate right now. I'm playing like one more time, and then I'm gonna bite you.
This perplexing decision
could mean that the killer willingly
No,
entered
no,
an
no,
area
no.
that was swarming with cops. Aside from demonstrating the killer's evasive abilities, this could suggest the killer lived in this East London area, as it possibly explains the motive for entering a dangerous situation. Later, a
Damn. This guy's on point with his falls blocks, punishing my Liu Kang.
Quote, I was not caught in
Just for fun.
tip. We hear about Saucy Jackie's work. Double event this time. Everyone steal a bit, but he finished straight off. Had not the time to get ears from police. Thanks for keeping last letter back till I got to work again. Jack the Ripper. End quote.
This isn't confirmed, but there is information out there that this postcard was received by the press agency.
No, he did not. Bro, just woke up. Buttons is a menace.
Is none of the public knew about this double event because it hadn't been in papers yet. Yet this guy was able to describe what happened in detail.
Okay.
There's not like, people got murdered tonight. It's not covered. So they're not going to give a color Dixie Cups. You see, there's Twitter. So it's possible and quite likely that if the timing of this is true, this is Jack the Ripper.
On the 13th of October in 1888, police spent a week searching every house in the East End sewer slums, but found nothing. October 16th, a man named George Lusk received a letter. Lusk was the head of the Violent Vigilance Group, a group comprised of local businessmen who assisted the police. The letter was signed, quote, from Doug, end quote, and was delivered in a box with half a human kidney. The kidney at the time was believed to be Catherine Meadows' missing kidney. However, it was found to be a prank by a medical student.
Wait, it's on the Tom Howell with a medical student? That's disappointing. I suppose, yeah. But I love From Hell. Just that as a sign. Oh, the hell. This kind of also demonstrates the climate surrounding this. Like, people weren't like, this is the worst thing on earth. There are people that like, well, we can have fun with this. It would be funny. It's like the Ice Bucket Challenge. What's everybody getting involved with?
Nearly a month later, on November 9th, 1888, the body of the fifth and final chemical victim, Mary Kelly, was found in 13 Miller's Court in her bed by her landlord's assistant, who was seeking rent. This murder was by far the most gruesome, as her body was disemboweled and, quote, virtually skinned down, end quote.
This is the last victim. It's a little tricky because where there used to be an apartment building is now, as you can see, it's a parking lot, a car park. So we can't really know where exactly it was. But we know it was near the church. We know it was near the Tin Bells pub. So we could be actually at the place of residence of Jack himself.
Oh, we both suck.
Quote, the sight that we saw did not drive away from my mind. It was more like the work of a devil than of a man. End quote. And with that, we arrive at the end of the 5 canonical victims. But as stated before, some believe there could be up to 11 victims, with Jack the Ripper's reign of terror. One should wonder if anybody caught a glimpse of this monster, and it would seem that people did, when aggregating eyewitness testimonies of those who believe they saw the Ripper. The rough outline of the killer can be visualized. It can be assumed that he would be 25 to 35 years old, roughly 5'5" to 5'7", stocky, with a fair complexion and a mustache. Allegedly,
Oh, it only works in the corner.
wearing a dark overcoat and a dark hat. The Scotland Yard's violent crime command team has said that Jack the Ripper, who one could call evil incarnated, could be described in appearance as, quote, perfectly sane, frighteningly normal, and yet capable of extraordinary cruelty, end quote. Sir Neville Macnaughton, the Scotland Yard's head of the Criminal Investigation Department in 1903, had a general suspicion of who the killer was. He knew that the Ripper had basic knowledge of anatomy, possibly a doctor, and in Macnaughton's notes, he had narrowed his list of suspects down to 3 names. That being said, due to the overwhelming amount of prominent suspects, and the fact that many feel the official 3 are not the Ripper, we're going to examine 8 names. Starting with Macnaughton's 3 official suspects. The first suspect was Montague Johnson Druitt.
Druitt was a barrister who may have had an uncle and cousin who were doctors. Around the time of his death, Druitt may have been around the age of 40 and supposedly had an interest in surgery. Montague possibly lived with his cousin, who was practicing medicine close to where the Whitechapel murders occurred. It also appeared that about a month before the first canonical murder, Montague's mother went insane, and Montague had written in a note that he feared he was also going insane. In his notes, it nodded as, quote, for private information, I have little doubt but that his own family suspected
Damn
this
it.
man of being the Whitechapel murderer.
Wouldn't want to
He
be
was
you right
alleged
now.
that he was sexually insane. End quote. After the final murder, Montague disappeared. He was found dead within 4 weeks of the last murder. His body was found floating in the Thames River on December 3rd, 1888.
I get the sense this is only the first suspect, but I come up with everyone we look at is going to have 10 different things that have definitely the Ripper, because London at the time sounds like it was full of insane psychopaths.
The second suspect was Michael Ostrov, a Russian doctor and a criminal. Ostrov had been in an asylum previously for homicidal tendencies. McNaughton notes that Ostrov did provide a strong alibi for his whereabouts during the murders. Ultimately, he was not convicted because there wasn't enough evidence to
What is a homicidal tendency word to do? Dabble in murdering?
I mean, I don't know if that's tendency. If murders and want to be found, I can't imagine there's a half measure.
He only killed a nanny. It was a funny thing when he was 15.
The third suspect was Aaron Kosminski, a Polish and Jewish resident of Whitechapel, who spent some time in an asylum in 1889 after the last murder. Kosminski would actually reside in asylums until his death in 1919. Kosminski was known for his hatred for women, particularly prostitutes. According to McNaughton, his appearance matched descriptions provided by the police of a man in Mitre Square, which you'll recall was the night of the double murder for the Ripper, likely zigzagging between murders. Kosminski might be a name familiar to the public due to the fact that recently his name made headlines due to his being featured in a book entitled, quote, Naming Jack the Ripper, end quote. In this book, Russell Edwards claims that a shawl purchased at an auction contains DNA evidence proving Kosminski is
Give
the
me
killer.
a challenge.
The shawl was bought under the impression that it reportedly was found at the murder scene on the person of Catherine Eddowes, the fourth Ripper victim. Edwards enlisted the help of molecular biologist Yari
Huh?
Leiden of the John Moores
I can
University.
barely hear you.
Edwards state shawl is
Hold on.
connected to Catherine Eddowes, based off of the
Yeah, I'm
parents
sitting
of
in
one
it.
of Eddowes'
Alright,
descendants.
turn you up.
They also claimed that semen on the scarf is linked to relatives of Kosminski.
Yeah, you're good, you're good.
This discovery, many felt that the case was closed, including Edwards.
What's true?
You said what?
Semen, you got blood.
Yeah.
Time to drag his name on blood.
Oh, I like that. You got the semen, got the blood, drag his name on through that blood. There you go. That's not bad. It isn't bad. So let's find out.
Quote, I've got the only piece of forensic evidence in the whole history of the case. I spent 14 years working on it, and we definitely solved the mystery of who Jack the Ripper was. Only non-believers that want to perpetuate the myth and doubt. This is it now. We have unmasked him.
Why is he getting shimmy so much?
He's confident. He's very.
Yeah, send me the image.
He's all, I can understand why he's confident. He thought he had it from the beginning, then he goes to a molecular biologist, like I analyze it, and he goes, yeah, I'd be bloated like a fuckload. Can you imagine that? Like, you just solved one of the greatest
I haven't
mysteries
competed
of
at
all
all.
time because you got confirmation that you wanted to hear.
But, much to the chagrin of Mr. Edwards, that may not be the case. It turns out that the scientist may have made a critical error of nomenclature. Summed up, Dr. Lumelin identified a mutation in DNA on both the scarf and an Eddowes' relative named Karen Miller. This mutation
Over
was
and
believed to be named 314.1C.
Right?
The mutation is only found in 1 in 290,000 people, making it very likely it's a mutation. However, this identification was reportedly incorrect and was not 314.1C, but instead
Right.
315.1C, which is a mutation shared by more than 90%.
I'm trying to think of another. I mean, you have Various. He plays Raiden, don't he?
This DNA
He dropped Raiden?
anyone
So it went from being it's that guy to one of those millions of people.
Basically, it was like, oh, the blood on the scarf and Edo's descendant have this very, very rare mutation. Oh wait, I misnamed the mutation. It's actually this other one. What's the other one? Well, exactly. He hit a wrong keystroke, and then, oh, all of a sudden, 99% of European people have it. Furthermore, Kosminski's DNA was linked to the scarf using
I just interrupt this shit.
using a subtype that is far from unique. Sir Alec Jeffreys, who's regarded as the godfather of DNA fingerprint, has said that this evidence, quote, needs to be subjected to peer review. No actual evidence has yet been provided, further adding fuel to the fire of skeptics. The fact that Dr. Lilling has yet to publish this finding in a peer-reviewed scientific
Knockout.
and has refused to answer questions to news outlets, thus making it impossible to verify his and Edwards'
Oh, yeah.
claims and effectively.
Who's in the top 10?
How did Edwards react to this?
Could you imagine
That all you
getting
got?
a call like this doctor having to pick up the phone and like, hello, remember that crap I told you?
Why, yes, the most famous piece of evidence in the world.
Hmm.
Yeah, about that. I think my pinky may have hit the 5 when I was trying to hit the 4, and it turns out it's kind of useless. So all that smack you've been talking in the press, it makes you look like a big fool. The fourth suspect is the notion that Jack the Ripper was actually a man. A theory that Ripper
When's their next tournament?
children. This theory was allegedly a hunch of
Fritz Arena.
as well. The idea that all of the police were on the hunt for a man, when they should have been searching for a woman, explained the Ripper being able to slip by without suspicion. Someone pointed out that
All right, I'm joining. Time to get yelled at by BNG. I said time to get yelled at by BNG.
All eyewitness testimony points to a man.
Because I left the set at 8-3, so he can't get his first and 10.
Slide through the crowd in a way that all these stupid police, but all these police would be able to, not pick up on it because they're looking for a man with a mustache.
Oh yeah, he said he wanted some first and 10s. But my Liu Kang is so bad. God, I literally just picked this up. This character is so good, but I just so bad.
This guy's got four. So that either
Just play your main shit.
four names fuck with.
It don't matter. You know, it don't matter to me. Whatever's your best.
It's often scoffed at, but is still perpetuated due to its wild popularity. Prince Edward.
Due to its wild popularity. There was no signs of ghosts in this house.
Tiger style.
Unhaunted.
Dragon style.
Resulted in Albert having a child with a local woman. Queen Victoria demanded that everyone who knew of the child to be taken care of. Some believe that the
True crime.
by syphilis, but admit the murders himself. Conspiracy theorists believe he was never discovered because royal aides assisted in covering his identity. However, as mentioned before, this theory is mostly regarded as ludicrous, as there is no substantial evidence to indicate its credibility. Looking into this, it's pretty clear that the movements of a prince, let alone anybody that the king would track. I don't know. I don't think it's that strong of a theory, but it is interesting.
You've got so many things at your disposal if you're a king, you probably have guards. I don't know. You get away with a lot, dude. Grab people off the street.
The sixth suspect is
have
named
few
Major
weaknesses.
Walter Sickert, a theory mainly opposed by the successful crime novelist Patricia Cornwell. After making millions on her crime novels, Cornwell has devoted her time to the pursuit of Sickert as the Ripper. In 2001, Cornwell spent £2 million buying 32 of Sickert's paintings, letters, and even Sickert's writing desk in one bizarre stunt that was described by our curator Richard Schoen as, quote, monstrous stupidity. Cornwell and full national treasure Nicolas Cage by cutting up a painting in search of clues.
Oh shit, I need to do that.
Cornwell rightfully claimed that Sickert was obsessed with the Ripper. With this proof, Sickert referenced the Ripper
Catch
In
your
Title
breath.
1,
Ugh,
Jack the Ripper.
I didn't mean to. That shit works sometimes.
Here's the body position of fifth Ripper victim, Mary Kelly. She claims another painting mimics the facial wounds of fourth Ripper victim, Catherine Eddowes. There are also reportedly accounts of stickers cosplaying as Jack the Ripper.
You realize this is before cosplay was a thing. I don't even know if Halloween was that big of a thing. Are you kidding me? They have like.
My lord, I'm getting pressure.
You don't find it strange that a grown man is dressing up as Jack the Ripper. No holiday. This just feels like, you know, when people change furries and, you know, just like live their life. They want to dress up like a pony.
Okay, this is the furthest thing from a furry. A furry is just dressing up as like a furry creature because he's, you know, a sexual thing.
Why are they so muscular?
I don't care about that. Dressing up as a furry animal is far from dressing up as a serial killer.
It's like a weird, like a horse with like cows, right?
I think get lost in furry cases.
You just said he wore. I mean, I'm not shaming it. I'm just I don't understand.
Wait, it's the same guys. What do you mean? I thought you said it was different.
The notion that Secret's alibi was that he was in France at the
Oh,
She cites sketches that place him
I understand.
By the way, anybody could sketch anybody. Like, I could just, let me just I do a sketch of you murdering somebody back in the day. It's like the police did. Like, here it is. Here's evidence that she in the day, cold blood, killed this woman dressed as a furry.
But I feel like you do that.
And they'd be like, you're right, I love this woman.
Oh, I got caught.
Oops.
However, the biggest piece of her case is the analysis of forensic paper expert Peter Bauer. Bauer identified 3 of Secret's letters and 2 of the Ripper's letters as coming from the DNA paper record of only 24 possible sheets. Basically, the odds of both the Ripper and Sticker.
Oh, got it. Babe, have you seen my... Alright, I found it. I gotta put my headset on the charger. Never mind, you're good.
And while that is undoubtedly evidence, it should be reminded that all of the Jack the Ripper letters are unconfirmed.
I think he probably didn't do it, but he is indeed a weirdo.
Yeah, he's a weirdo, but I don't think we need to throw him in jail for it.
The 7th suspect is Joseph Barnett, who is particularly suspicious as he actually lived with Mary Kelly, the final Ripper. In fact, Barnett may have lived in 10 different locations in East London, making him well versed in the area.
I hope it's just,
Barnett worked as a fish porter, and it's believed that Barnett was involved. Despite
oh my...
door from the outside,
Okay.
he was also aware of Kelly's schedule and tendencies.
I don't know.
Suggested Kelly was killed in her sleep, not by an outsider she invited in. Her clothes were folded by the bed, quote, as though they had been taken off in the ordinary manner, end quote, and she was wearing a nightgown. As a fish porter, Barnett would have crude anatomical knowledge.
They posit that he had an anatomical knowledge because he was a fish porter?
As a known associate of Kelly's, he would be someone local prostitutes knew, allowing him to get close enough for a sneak attack.
No.
Barnett's friends called him Jack. He also matches the physical description and the psychological profile created of Jack the Ripper by the FBI. And finally, the murders allegedly stopped after Mary Kelly, the last canonical victim. After her death, Barnett would have no other reason to kill anymore now that his lover, who he was trying to keep off the streets, was now dead.
I like it.
Pretty good, right? I mean, also to me, most of them, frankly, are very circumstantial. This one, to me, while also circumstantial, seems the closest to actual evidence in that he lived with her, he fought 10 days before her death.
Let's go.
Mine is the greater will.
He tried to keep her off the streets. I could totally see him killing people to try and scare her from doing it.
The motive here is certainly the most
Thunder roll.
For sure.
out of all the suspects.
And even the accent. We have a no. This is the only one where I feel like there was a very clear tie between the possible killer and the victim.
The 8th and final suspect is the nuclear suspect on Facebook.org, a site devoted to Jack the Ripper and a place for ripperologists to work together to solve the case. The final suspect is James Maybrick. Maybrick's death coincided with the stopping of the Ripper killings, as he died 1 year after the killings. Maybrick was an upper-class cotton merchant who resided in an estate called the Battle Priest House in Liverpool. Some would consider this to be a damning detail, as many feel the Ripper was a local man who likely wasn't upper class. However, it should be pointed out that all the murders were committed on a weekend. It stands to reason that a wealthy cotton merchant would have the ability to travel on weekends, and it is also worth mentioning that he would have the benefit of not killing in his hometown.
No, fuck.
Have I improved,
Many
Lord
consider
Luque?
it the biggest piece of physical evidence that links him to the crimes.
Can't see chat right now, guys.
Reportedly discovered under the floorboard.
I'll check it in a second. But what's up?
Diary that is signed, quote, I give my name that all know of me. So history do tell what love can do to a gentleman born. Yours truly. Jack.
Oh my lord.
Also within the diary, the intimate details of the killings. Backing up the diary's authenticity are scientific
You are my
tests that
homie.
have
That
confirmed the
one
diaries
gamer man
roughly
was a
match
F
the era of the Ripper killings.
asterisk
The
nerd.
diary was apparently discovered by a scrap metal dealer named Mike Barrett, and this is where the story begins to lose its footing. Barrett actually admitted that he fabricated the diary, only to recant the statement later, chalking it up to
Oh god, I'm dead.
publicity.
Alright, let me see what's going on here.
Also shaky is the definitive details of the discovery of the diary. Some sources have it falling into Barrett's hand via being handed down by various generations of fame, while other sources have Barrett
I
discovering
put on
it
display
himself,
chat,
while
so.
Barrett's associates discovering it and then giving it to him due to their knowledge of Barrett being an aspiring author. However, all that aside, if the diary was in fact found under
No face, no case. What's up, bro?
possibility that he was in fact Jack the Ripper. Following this discovery, a gold pocket watch was reported as potential Ripper evidence. The watch apparently contains the scratched initials of the 5 canonical victims, in addition to the phrase, quote, I am Jack, end quote, and also, quote, J. Mabry, end quote. The scratches
You
were
once hid from
analyzed
a
via
crazy
electron
ex-girlfriend?
microscope by Dr. Stephen
Spent a whole
Turgoose,
month
whose study
laying low
suggests
in
that
West
the
Covina.
scratches were not done in modern times. Another doctor named Robert Wilde at Bristol University's Interface Analysis Center concluded that the scratches, quote, could have been very, very old and were certainly not new. It was
Nice.
difficult to be precise, end quote. The watch, which was displayed in a Liverpool jewelry shop by a college caretaker named Albert Johnson, is dated 1846 and was purchased for £225. But given the
Oh, guys.
piece of evidence,
I'm getting mixed up.
it's understandable to have doubts of him as the Ripper.
I like the other guy better. Barnett, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm too. From like just looking at circumstance, it seems like he'd be the most likely. That seems like kind of
Always get hit by poke specials.
guy who's like, oh, I guess I'll go down this weekend. Yeah.
So funny. Oh my god, that shit just ate my foot. 1 second,
I
baby.
can see that. I think that's just his skill. I do think he's the most strongest. Yeah. Yeah, if I had to put money on it, I would say no. Alright. You don't seem as convinced of that document. I thought this was really cool. Kind of hidden diary under a floorboard. A watch. I know you don't like to hear this. This is sort of like my approach to a lot of these little true crime ones. Okay, you know what you're going to here. Acknowledge Johnson. But if you're oh, right. Remember that? That's one of them. It's very, very bad. What? Let it be a mystery. Oh, it's adjourned.
And why am I not
Anyone trying to play? Play a little later.
Perhaps one day we'll have the means to solve it. Or perhaps this famous case will be yet another victim of time. But for now, the question will continue to persist. Who was Jack the Ripper? Just remains unsolved.
Saucy guy. Really something. Saucy guy. Kind of a dude. Yeah, I'd say. Well, I didn't even consider them murderers. Yeah, they're not features. This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we investigate the Cleveland Corso murder, one of the most gruesome serial killers of all time. That's a hell of an accomplishment.
He's not the most definitively, but I would say he's one of the most. He's in the upper echelon, for sure. It's not a shiny badge of honor.
You sound like you're impressed.
I'm not impressed. The things he did were pretty, for lack of a better term, gross.
Just gross. Okay. Whatever you said.
Between 1934 and 1938, in Cleveland, Ohio, near Kingsbury Run, 13 people, comprised of 6 women and 7 men, were killed by a serial killer. Of those 13, only 3 were identified, and almost all of them were vagrants or sex workers. All of the victims were decapitated, and in some cases, the head was never found.
You just kill anybody. You also just kill all ages of them. Like, this guy just didn't give a shit. He's just death.
The killer often dismembered the body through the torso, and in no instance was a body found fully intact. These gruesome tendencies would earn the killer the name the Cleveland Torso Killer, or the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run. Here's a little background on Kingsbury Run. In the 1930s,
What do you mean you change your settings?
Kingsbury Run was a really dangerous place where many poor lived in terrible conditions.
Damn, that message clovered up my whole screen, bro.
End quote. Just east of Kingsbury Run was a sketchy area called the Roaring Third, known for its bars, gambling dens, and brothels.
I'm into that. I like that place.
The Roaring Third?
Yeah.
Is that a place you would frequent back
I'd
in
be
the day?
there.
You'd be dead. It's got, you see those long limbs, you say, oh man, I got the stable ordinance right here.
Bars, gambling.
Oh, that shit plus.
Currently, nowadays, I've said this before, but we have a lot of entertainment in that situation. I've got YouTube, I've got PlayStation, and pretty much that's it. But that said,
Man, I just suck at fucking hitting. I just, man, that fucking overhead just keeps smacking me in my damn forehead.
The recurring theme that you've had throughout the show, where I think there weren't long skin insane.
Ain't that special about this Johnny skin?
Let's jump into the time of the killings.
Oh wow, I went over.
1934. The first victim, an unidentified woman in her 30s, was found on the shores of Lake Erie. All that was found was part of her torso, thighs, and other body parts, but no head. Her skin was leathery and red from a chemical preservative. On September 23rd, 1935, the second victim, a 28-year-old man named Edward N. Rossi, was found near Kingsbury Run at the base of Jackass Hill. That's actually what that's saying. I know that was going to elicit some kind of giggle, so just get it. So just get it out of the way. That's the title. At the base of Jackass Hill.
yeah, where'd they find him? Oh,
I mean, the Jackass Hill. That's not fun. I'm sure they omitted that out of the movie.
why do you even call, I guess maybe there were burrows there at some point, or something.
I got robbed!
And a regular around
Good stuff.
Restrained in blood, naked, and emasculated, with rope burns to the wrists. On that same day, the third victim was
Use that in your
an
movie.
unidentified 40-year-old man, and was also decapitated and emasculated. The body also had the same chemical preservative from the first killing. On January 26, 1936, the fourth victim, a woman named Florence Polillo, was found wrapped up in newspaper inside half-bushel baskets by the Hart Manufacturing Building. Polillo was a sex worker, barmaid, and waitress who lived in the Roaring Third. He's getting bolder with the places he's dumping bodies. The first one was the lake, the second one was on the side of a hill, the third one was
I'm a dumbass.
now this one in front of an actual workplace.
Yeah.
In, a metropolitan area.
I'm dead.
On June 5th, 1936, the head of the fifth victim, an unidentified man, was found wrapped in trousers in Kingsbury.
That's an ugly ass turtle. Why is he so
Was found
old?
the next day in an even more audacious location in front of the Nickel Plate Railroad Police Building. So, once again, he's asking me.
I'm gonna have to pull out my secret weapon.
One of the saddest parts of this to me is that so many of these bodies were unidentified.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I'm always of the opinion that once I'm
My
dead,
sister's upset
you
that
can do
you
anything
haven't
you
been
want with
writing.
my body. Throw it out in the street, let the
I
dog
will write
but I
her
want
as
it, I would at
soon as
least
we're
want
done.
people to look at my body and go, yeah, that's Shane, that was Shane. He's actually being eaten right now. That's Shane in that Basset Hound's mouth. Give him a send off, whatever. Say your kind words about him. That'd be a heavy dog. That's a big ass boat.
Nice catch. Kung Lao's dating Raiden's sister or something?
The sixth victim, an unidentified 40-year-old man, was found in the woods near Clinton Grove. The man had been dead for 2 months. One noteworthy observation was the blood on the ground, suggesting he had been killed on site and not dumped there, as indicated by the other body sites.
So this is someone who's just out walking around who gets got.
Well, the thing that is interesting to me about this is because all the other ones have been dismembered in a way that was medically efficient, and most likely done after death. This is one that seems to be done in the
Fuck, with way more brush.
Looks like you're buying.
the same guy, or since it obviously is the same guy, he's getting an answer. He's losing his grip. He doesn't care anymore. He's starting to do things that aren't as premeditated. On September 10, 1936, the seventh victim, an unidentified man, was found near the train tracks in Kingsbury Run. He had been killed by decapitation in a manner that the coroner noticed was confident in one stroke, which implied that the killer was both brazen and educated in human anatomy.
This is gross, but I think it's hard to cut off a head.
Inherently, yeah, and there was one case where someone had, it took them, I forget which royal it was a British royal.
Yeah.
It took 5
Get up and
strokes.
fight.
Also, another thing, you are slightly alive. I was reading this one recorded case of a guy who watched someone's head get cut off by a guillotine. And he said the head rolled around, and he saw the guy's eyes. He blinked, and he saw recognition in him as he said his name.
Look at our old channel, someone who, for science, told the person getting executed to blink as long as they could.
I'll see that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like if you were a piece of shit your whole life getting executed because you're an awful person, the least you could do is think one solid on the way out.
Give us, yeah, a little something.
It'd be even better. Not blink. What if they were like, why don't you give us a...
Wait.
There you go. You're both for the money, right? So you can either blink, you can do it.
Oh my god! This motherfucker right here is crazy. That dumbass move.
The local papers reported the murder spree on a near daily basis, and yet there were no
My lord.
as expected.
He's broken the tip of my sword.
Heat on the investigating authorities. Detectives Peter Murillo and Martin Zalewski interviewed over 50
When I roll up, baby, when I roll up.
Even a picture of Detective Murillo undercover as a vagrant.
That is the most cartoonish
That's the most
hobo I've ever seen. He looked like he watched a Bugs Bunny cartoon, in which Bugs Bunny was on the rail.
Alright, focus up.
Yeah, that was
You think he has a couple
Oh fuck, that ain't focused up.
Maybe this is like accurate to the time.
I don't think it was.
So you think that he was just like, I bet you this is what vagrants look like. He went out there and he was like walking. I don't know anything like this.
Probably actual people who look like real human beings, and then this guy walking on like he's walked off the Warner Brothers set.
Jumping back into the timeline, on February 23rd, 1937, parts of the eighth victim, an unidentified woman in her 20s, were found on the shore east of Broadway.
Get up
On
and
June
fight.
5th, 1937, the ninth victim, determined to be a woman named Rose Wallace, was found under the Lorraine Carnegie Bridge. Her remains were merely a skull and a bag of bones. On July 6th, 1937, the 10th victim, an unidentified man in his mid to late 30s, was found in the Cuyahoga River. His heart was ripped out, and the abdominal area was gutted. The proximity of the killings was starting to get crazy.
You got to enjoy 4th of July, which is my favorite holiday.
I guess he did.
It was fun. It's a good holiday.
Yeah, I suppose if I had to choose between getting murdered on July 3rd or July 6th, I'd choose July 6th.
It's always a silver lining. That's what I'm saying.
Belly full of hot dogs.
Yeah.
In April/May of 1938, parts of the 11th victim, an unidentified woman, was found in the Cuyahoga River. Interestingly, this was the first time that a victim had drugs in their system. This left authorities to wonder whether the drugs were recreational or used to keep her from moving. Maybe this contributes to why the strokes were so confident and so absolute.
Because they weren't moving.
Because they weren't moving. And the only reason I posit this is because drugs may be involved in one of the case's main suspects.
Okay. Pretty horrifying to imagine that you were drugged and you can only just close your eyes. You ever had that?
Oh boy.
That's in Wolf Creek.
Haven't we
Some
trained
serial
enough?
killer cuts
Vigilance
someone's spinal
requires
cord so that they
diligence.
can't move, so they're forced to just watch what's happening to their friends. But their eyes. That's horrifying. It is pretty scary. As all of these gruesome murders were ongoing, Mayor Harold Burden increasingly pressured CP Director Elliot Ness to make headway. You may know Elliot Ness as the famed G-Man, who led his illustrious group of untouchables to bust Al Capone's breweries. Other credits to Ness's glowing resume included defeating the Mayfield Road Mob, crooked police, and labor racketeers, contributing to his status as a law enforcement legend. As city safety director, Ness was involved with both the fire and police departments, and given his decorated track record, Ness was at serious risk of tainting his reputation should he not make headway in the torso police. With that in mind,
God damn it!
the last
Fuck!
Like you're buying.
1938, the 12th and 13th victims, both unidentified, were found in perhaps the most reckless location of all. The bodies were
What?
found in
Yo,
view
what?
of Elliot Ness's office window, a taunt that obviously resonated with Ness.
Oh, wow.
You're gonna post out, and you're gonna post in your retirement, right? You know?
Yeah.
Dude, everything's great. And at the last layer, this piece of shit comes in. Yeah. And just starts messing with you. Commits some of the most grisly murders of all time. Yeah. In your playground. And then he puts it and rubs your nose. Yeah. 2 days later, on August 18th, 1938, at 12:40 a.m., Director Ness and a squadron of 35 detectives and police officers raided Kingsbury Run's Polo Jungle. They rounded up 63 men and scoured the shacks for any sign of the killer. Most noteworthy, in a move that has been criticized, Ness then ordered the shacks to be burnt down. The people displaced were then charged with being homeless, which they pled guilty for. Ness's involvement in this
God, I couldn't do shit. I was gonna rocket to the forehead.
Okay.
This, I mean, he pretty much just said, I can't find what's going on in this part of town, let's burn it all down.
That's literally like a scorched earth.
He literally went scorched earth.
Yeah.
According to James Bedell, the preeminent expert on this case, Ness's raid was intended to protect the transients in a bizarre and backwards way. Ness wanted to eliminate the pool of potential victims, thinking that the killer targeted transients, which, to be fair, was true. He also wanted the transients' fingerprints in the event that they were later killed.
It feels like maybe the fingerprint excuse is exactly that. It's just an excuse when people are like, hey,
This is
why you
fun.
terrorizing entire population of people and setting their homes on fire? And suddenly you need to come up with a reason.
But he's coming to his senses.
Yeah. It just seems like he's just sort of backpedaling.
He was just like, fingerprints.
He didn't just look. He didn't do that.
They fingerprints.
Yeah, sure.
Either way, the killings did stop after the raid. Whether or not the raid had anything to do with them is debatable. Certainly, Ness's shiny reputation was damaged by this action, and it also brought the investigators no closer to identifying a killer. That being said, the case is considered by some to be unofficially solved, and furthermore, the solution was reached partly by Ness himself. With that, let's get into the suspects. The first suspect was 52-year-old bricklayer Frank Dolezal. In July of 1939, Dolezal was arrested by County Sheriff Martin O'Donnell for the murder of Florence Polillo, the fourth victim. Dolezal had usually lived with Polillo for a time. Furthermore, Dolezal also knew victims Edward N. Rossi and Rose Wallace. Following his arrest, Frank Dolezal confessed to murder.
No. Fucking tough stuff.
He later said he had been beaten and recanted his confession. In fact, Dolezal had suffered 6 broken ribs while in the custody of the sheriff, further casting doubt upon the confession. The confession appeared to be coached, as it was a mix of prepackaged details and incomprehensible ramblings, according to case expert James Bedell.
Oh god, I'm dead.
On the case, later
Good
said,
blocks.
quote, "This is the first time that I've ever known anyone to confess to a crime that didn't know the details of the crime to which he was confessing." End quote.
They beat the shit out of him, probably.
100%.
Yes.
And it's very, very sad.
Yes. Him knowing numerous people in the camp doesn't seem. I mean, he knows. So were a lot of these people.
Baby, you're not even watching.
Yeah, the shanty town kind of.
I think what happened is
Huh?
they saw him.
You're not even watching.
Yeah. Then they found out he knew the other 2 victims who were down. And they thought everyone is honest right now. A lot of pressure from the mayor. The public is starting to get pissed off. I think it's time to.
The TV show's just talking about people dying.
Nonetheless, Dolezal remains incarcerated for the crime, which makes the event that followed all the more suspicious. 1 month later, in August 1939, Dolezal committed a suicide in his jail cell before going to trial, hanging himself on a hook that was 5 feet and 7 inches from the ground. The problem with that is, Frank Dolezal was 5 feet and 8 inches tall.
Dogs.
Logically,
Oh, gotta go get Sterling.
themselves from an object that they were.
Alright, after this match, I gotta go get my dogs.
It'd be logistically impossible for him to hang himself. He'd have to.
You can. I don't know. I think that's possible.
It's suspicious to me, given the things that preceded. They coached his confession out of him.
Oh, I think you're saying the police making him. Oh, that didn't occur to me. The police would.
What I'm saying is, they seem very, very set on this being their job. They pleaded him. They've gotten a confession out of him. They start to think, oh, this is going to go to trial soon.
Oh, okay. I did not put that together.
In addition, James Bedell interviewed forensic science experts that looked at Dolezal's autopsy. The experts concluded that he didn't end his own life the way people were told he did. Though, the experts don't explicitly say he was murdered while in prison. Either way, virtually no one believes Frank Dolezal was the killer. A marker purchased by James Bedell and his team was laid on Dolezal's grave in August 2010, with Dolezal's family members in attendance that reads, quote, "Rest in," end quote, thus vindicating Dolezal posthumously. In these Unsolved episodes, it's not often that we get nice stuff. And this,
Let's hang on to this one.
this is favorite. It's really this is actually very well.
Rest out. That's nice.
That's nice. The second and final suspect we will discuss today is Dr. Francis E. Sweeney. In the 1970s, Sweeney was discovered to be safety director Elliot Ness's secret suspect. Sweeney is also thought to have been the killer, according to case expert James Bedell, who as of 2014 had spent 18 years researching the killings. Dr. Francis
No.
is a doctor.
God dang it.
Serious skill and anatomical knowledge
I'm dead.
to perform the killings. Sweeney had also been to probate court multiple times, and his wife noted his problems with alcoholism, his abuse of her and their 2 sons.
Alright, I'll be right back. Or you can just dip out of here, it's up to you, but I'll be right back.
Shortly after the
GG's, bro.
murder, Sweeney checked himself into a mental
Catch you later, homie. Appreciate the game. Gotta get for the dog.
Stopped. In 1956, Sweeney was diagnosed as schizophrenic. In May 1938, Elliot Ness secretly apprehended Sweeney, taking him to the Old Cleveland Hotel. Ness kept Sweeney there for about 10 to 14 days, as it took Sweeney 3 days to even sober up.
Just Ness brewing coffee the whole time. What is this? Slapping him in the face, feeding him coffee,
water in his face.
tickling his feet with some feathers. I don't know.
Miranda rights were not in place yet, though this process was still in conflict with the rules of civil liberties of the time. The inventor of the modern polygraph, Leonard Keeler, administered a lie detector test to Sweeney, which he failed twice. Keeler told Ness, quote, "That's your man. I might as well throw my machine out the window if I say anything different," end quote.
This makes me wonder if he, in his mind, thought he was sort of a vigilante justice type. You know, because Bruce Wayne was a very successful, very powerful man.
Are you comparing the Torso Killer to Batman?
I'm not. It sounds like you're comparing the Torso Killer to Batman.
I'm just saying, I think maybe the Torso Killer thought that he
He is Batman.
was a Batman type. Except Batman never cut anybody's head off. And that would really ruin it.
Yeah, Batman didn't kill people. He just knocked them out a little bit. He's not Batman. Ness had to proceed carefully because Sweeney was a cousin of Congressman Martin L. Sweeney. I wonder if this affiliation, along with the detention violating civil liberties, contributed to Ness keeping this lie detector test a secret. Regardless, despite this revelation, Francis Sweeney was released, and less than 3 months later, the final 2 torso victims were placed within view of Ness's window, seemingly to mock him. Ness would continue to get mocked well after the killings. In the 50s, Ness received taunting note cards from someone claiming to be Francis Sweeney, and since Sweeney was a secret suspect, I would imagine it's likely that the sender was indeed Sweeney.
What do the note cards say?
Supposed to
They
give
pretty
him
much
some water and
nonsense.
food.
Do they implicate that he is the killer, or is it
And
him
food?
essentially just
It's him thumbing his nose at him, knowing that even if these note cards were taken to court, they wouldn't mean anything, which is even more infuriating.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, despite feeling he had solved the case, Ness didn't have enough to take Sweeney to trial. Though, the case against Sweeney doesn't end there. In 1938, a vagrant named Emil Fronek told authorities that in 1934, a doctor tried to drug him. He remembered the office was somewhere around East 50th and East 55th on Broadway Street. Unfortunately, when authorities drove Fronek up Broadway, he couldn't find anything that appeared to be a medical office, and from there, his story was dismissed as irrelevant. However, more than 7 years later, case expert James Bedell would discover that Francis Sweeney practiced medicine out of a modest-looking building at the corner of Broadway and Pershing Avenue. This building closely matches where Fronek remembered getting drugged. It's in this building that Bedell believed Sweeney could have drugged Fronek as well as other victims, though the Torso Killer murders would have resulted in a large amount of blood evidence. So, how could Sweeney have carried out those murders in these offices without eventually being caught?
spread out the tarps and just
Because I imagine it would be pretty hard to explain this.
I know this is bad. He's got a head cold.
The answer may lie with David Cowles, the leader of the Scientific Identification Bureau, who was interviewed by the Cleveland Police Historical.
My Empress.
Yep. Right.
Sonya Blade.
I got 10-4 by Victor. I got 8-3 by B&G. And Witch just beat me like 6-4 or something. I don't know. Just give my